how did this happen? This whole Zoom bullshit idea. I got an MBA. It was extremely professional, as you could tell by this slide deck. And I did not get hired by McKinsey in what is a great shock to the universe. So here I am on the internet making ridiculous slides. It's a competition. Each contestant gets 5 minutes to present 7 slides. And I'd like to introduce this evening's participants. Up first, we'll have Mathieu. There we go. If you guys will just come on stage as I say. Andrea will be right after that. Then we'll have Josh. Then we'll have who's a returning champion. Then we'll have a riveting intermission, which you could go pee, but you'll miss intermission. The best decks come in the back half, is what she said. Then Caroline and Matilde will wrap us up, also a returning champion from last week. Then there will be voting upon winners. The winners will present the final deck together, the two top scoring participants, and it will be all for your enjoyment, a gladiatorial battle of the wits of slides. So, where did these slides come from? Well, I have a personal collection that I refer to as Slide Hell. But mostly this week's slides come from people like you. Slides at zoombullshit.com will drop your slides into our collection, and we are eternally grateful. You are contributing both to comedy and science. And for that, we appreciate you. So, without further ado, some terrible, terrible slide decks presented by rock star comedians. Up first, we've got Mathieu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this presentation from the political institution and the policy-making process. Lecture 5 today, Income Inequality in the Transition to Democracy. This has been written not by me because I don't write my stuff myself. I don't have time for this anymore. It's been written by Peter Buisseret and Luis Martinez. Thank you so much for fixing this for me. I don't have time for this. Let's get to the next slide, please. But fine. In politics, one very important thing is that you need a plan. Most of people think like you come with a plan when you get the crisis. No, it's not true. You make the crisis with your plans. It's the other way around. To build a simple model of non-democratic politics, use ingredients from the previous lecture so that people know what is coming. Otherwise, people are dumb. They won't be able to work with your plan if they haven't seen it before. Explore the conditions under which elites concede democracy because they fund your campaign. If you don't explore these conditions, they won't give you money. If they don't give you money, you can't go on campaign, and therefore you cannot win. And you want to win, right? You do want to win because all of you are winners inside. You don't know it yet. You think you're losers. You're sitting on your couch. You're thinking, what am I going to do with my life? Well, I'm going to tell you what you do with your life. You first emphasize commitment, power of democratic institutions. You commit to these institutions just for people to believe in it. And then you discover the role of inequality and economic conflict to support your campaign. Next slide, please. There are two groups in a society of size N. Like size N could be 1 million, could be 1 billion. It's not important. The important thing is that the rich has an income of Y square R, and the poor an income of Y square P. Well, P for poor, obviously, and R for rich. So you don't earn the same amount of money, and it's squared. So you can imagine the impact of that income has on politics. Now, poor are a majority of the population, unfortunately, but poor are fraction 1 minus This sign is very important, ladies and gentlemen. It's the tree sign, because 4 are a fraction of 1 minus the amount of tree you have in your country. So the more you cut trees, the richer you get. This is how politics work. And where 1 minus 3 is bigger than half. So you need to have less trees than half of your population. Otherwise, you cannot run a country. And rich are quite different. They are a fraction. So you want to have more trees than rich people, which are represented by the N size of the population that we saw at the beginning, obviously. And society initially, autocracy. It means autocracy means that society is governed by the rich and not the poor, obviously. Next slide, please. Each group, we suppose that rich hold a share, and within each group, the proportion of income share is evenly divided across it. This is equivalent to assuming that Y square rich of the rich people is the 0n of the number of tree. And then in parentheses, what you have is that the amount of tree find how rich your society is, and you want to cut these trees. And this Y amount is also the poor equivalent. So you have to, you want to have a lot of poor people for your square value, and you want to have not too many trees, where Y is mean income, obviously, but you know that. Okay, next slide, please. This is a simplified version of the model we studied last week. We take individual incomes as given. So we skip to that. And 2 incomes level, YP, like poor, rich, you know that already. But the governments select the amount of buildings that you have in your country, and in all calculated in euro, obviously. You redistribute the revenue lump sum, and K gives you your karma, because you need karma to govern a country, and you assume that tax collection is costly. For every dollar collected, some is lost. You lose your karma. And formally, next slide, please. You need the administration, you need corruption. People say you have to cut corruption. It's not true. To improve your stat capacity. And next slide. The interaction. The elite decide whether to continue democracy. Do we want democracy? Do we not want democracy? If you don't concede enough, then you don't have your tax rate that is determined by majority vote. Payoffs collected, game ends. So you need to take care of your money and the amount of people voting for you. If elite do not concede, they announce a tax rate. They say, you give the tax rate. And then you have, oh, okay, you back up. And you give this amount of tax rate, and you're not in control anymore. Then the poor observe the amount of buildings at a square A of the autocracy that we've seen before. And they, hey, people are like taking me for a sheep. They're taking advantage of me, and they decide whether to overthrow the elite. You get a revolution. And if there's a revolution, society income evenly distributed amongst poor. Assume that the fraction of the unhappiness of total income is destroyed during the revolution. Observe when the elite make choice at stage 2 initially. And if there is no revolution, the elite honors their promises, and you got a stable government, and the people will just choose its most preferred tax. So they will just choose to pay you taxes because you're smarter than them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mathieu. That was delightful. Up next, we've got Andrea presenting. On deck, we've got Josh. So ready to present. Take it away.
Yeah. Hi. Well, I'm stepping in here for Dr. Yasser Toubasi as he has been he's ill, and I'm not going to say the specifics of it because that would be against our code. But let's just dive into it. Ambulatory healthcare services. I want to say that yes. Let's continue. Comfortable sleep. This is a thing that we've been talking about a lot in the community. It's been, well, when you have to spend a lot of time in an ambulance, let me tell you, the importance of a good bed is so important. You can't believe. So we in the community, and this is of course a big, intellectual community of professors globally working on ambulatory healthcare services, as strictly as philosophy, of course. Have been putting a lot of research into this comfortable sleep, and so our suggestion, frankly, is that each ambulance should be fitted with a queen size bed, if possible, not for the sick people that need to use it, but for the people that work there, because sleep, you don't want anyone falling asleep behind the wheel, especially not if it's an ambulance. That's something that we strongly believe. Next slide. Definition of sleep. Sleep is a uniform block of time when you are not awake. This, again, a lot of research has gone into this. Let me tell you, what you think that your tax dollars are doing, this is what they're doing, and we're very proud of our work. Well, the brain is active. You would think that if you're asleep, it's not, but remember, dreams, that's what it's doing. That's what we in the community call defragmenting. And there's two types of sleep. There's the non-rapid eye movement, or non-REM, and that's 4 stages. We'll get into that later. And then there's REM, rapid eye movements. Amazingly, the other category there, and that's when you're sleeping but your eyes are moving a lot. Okay, next slide. Oh, there's more. Oh, here we go. NREM sleep, the first part. Stage 1 of NREM. You can be easily awakened. For example, if a cat gallops over your chest. You might be having light sleep, like in a chair, for example. Your eyes moving slowly. This is missing one line, which is dropping your phone on your face as part of this as well. Anyway, stage 2, NREM. Eye movement stops. This is you're getting into it, as we would call it. A slow brain activity pattern, occasional bursts. 50% of sleep cycle is this. It's let me tell you, when you're sleeping, you're not doing it very well. Most of the time, some of us knock it out of the park, but we're professionals. And then we have stage 3, slower brain activity. And this is 10% of sleep cycle. And this is really where your brain, you could just as well have, soup in there. It's not really doing much of anything. And then you have stage 4 NREM. Difficult to be awaked, difficult to be awaked. That's how we say it in the community. It's really difficult to get you to be awake at this point. You're deep sleep. This is, frankly, for some of us, the most awkward stage as we take to or all sorts of hijinks. But it's also restorative. You wake up with an empty bladder and 10K. It's great. And yeah, this is 10% of the sleep cycle. Okay, next slide. Or whatever happens next. Oh, there we go. And then we got the classic REM. Yeah, those cats really going at it. Animals have a much easier time at this than we do. We really, we do a lot in our sleeps. Cats, they're out. 1 hour to 1.5 hours to reach. Eyelids tightly closed. Eyes move in various directions. Breathing is rapid, irregular, and shallow. You might confuse this with having sex. You're not having sex. You're having sleep. Sleep and sex, not the same thing. This is something that we know in the community. HR and BP increase, of course. HR departments are mostly active during this phase, as well as British Petroleum. And this is where you're dreaming, sorting new and old experiences, defragging, like I said before. Very fun. That's what a computer would do. And what is our brain if not a computer? This is all about ambulatory health care services. Legs and arms are paralyzed. Yeah. This is also when the horse comes and looks at you. That's what happens here. And sometimes it's a lady and she sits on your stomach, and that's it's tough. Anyway, that's 20 to 25% of the sleep cycle. Okay, and I think we're running out of time.
I think we're out of time, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, why sleep? Well, because you get a lot done. You wouldn't think it, but you do, and you need it. Otherwise, you can't drive your ambulance. Next slide. Yeah, and, if you don't sleep, it's lights out faster, strangely. It's an oxymoron, but that's why we do this work. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Nothing sleeps by you. All right. Up next, we've got Josh. This is a deck that you may wish to give your children earmuffs and or blindfolds for. It's game on. Perfect. And take it away, Josh.
Oh, hi. Probably a little bit unorthodox for a first date, but I have a slide deck for you I thought we'd go through. 8 things your gynecologist won't tell you about your clitoris. I'm so glad I chose this character for this slide deck. Let's do it. Slide 2. All right. Your doctor probably hasn't told you this, but your pleasure button never gets old. All right? Once fully developed, the clitoris maintains its potency. That's right, potency. For the rest of a woman's life. This simply means that you will carry the similar orgasmic capability even at your ripe old age. Yeah, I know. You're much older than you put in your profile. So it's good news. It's good news not just for you. It's good news for me, too. Because you may get old, but your mysterious love knob never will. That's right. I called her mysterious love knob. Because that's what I do. Next slide. One of my other little terms that I like to use is a core-gasm. That's where you orgasm using your core. Which is why it's so important and why I asked you to do some Pilates before we had our date tonight. You'll probably be astonished to learn that certain exercises like planking and crunches can set off an orgasm. And I mean, I don't need to tell you that. I'm sure it's happened to you. What's great about this clitoral stimulation is that there's no need to watch a porn movie. There's no need for clitoral simulation. Anyway, next slide. Yeah, that's right. It grows. Your clitoris will also get an erection. When a woman enters her 30s, her pink button, that's another word for the mysterious love knob, will grow 4 times as big as it was at the commencement of puberty.
It's true.
It is true. Thank you for saying that. Another astonishing fact, and I know you're going to be surprised about this, but after menopause, the clitoris will be 7 times larger than it was at birth. And I know that's probably hard to believe that you are bigger than you were when you were a baby. I know, it's crazy, but it's true. Slide 5. The clitoris, it's actually a mini penis. I bet you didn't think about it that way. I didn't either. I didn't realize until now that I'm actually bisexual. The clitoris has a penis-like shaft, erectile tissue, just like a penis, and tiny glands with its foreskin as well. Your clitoris is actually a mini penis, but it's affected differently by your hormones. And that's why I've got that fireplace going. Oh, and you know what else? I got a strawberry. You want a strawberry? No? Okay, I'll have it. The clitoris has erections at night, just like a penis. That's right. Women also have wet dreams. Next slide. I bet you didn't know this, but your clitoris is your most sensitive zone. You need a man to tell you that, I'm sure. But the clitoris is regarded as one of the most sensitive parts of the female sexual system. That's right, I know that. It has more than 8,000 nerve endings, which is definitely more than any other part of the male or female body. Definitely. Let's hit that next and last slide. Your clitoris has one job, all right? Sexual pleasure, okay? If it's doing anything else, you fire it and get a new one that knows its job. Sexual pleasure, okay? It has no reproductive function except for the fact that without sexual pleasure, there is no way that human beings would continue to have children because they are horrible. It is no surprise that only 30% of women experience orgasm through vaginal penetration, and the rest reach orgasm through clitoral stimulation, which is why I have a collection of vibrators in that chest back there. So now you have more reasons to love your clitoris. Anyway, I'm going to put some music on. Thanks so much for sitting through that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh. That was really was a pleasure. You're now back to me, but I am not presenting a slide deck. It is intermission. We will entertain you during intermission, or you could pee and miss it all. So if I could get everybody out here, that'd be great. We're going to answer questions from the audience. So please, all of your questions that you've been asking in Twitch, we're gonna answer those questions right now for you. Summer, what do we got?
How many trees do I have to cut down to be rich?
Trees.
Are
The
Biggest.
Wood.
Biggest what?
Wood.
Wood. On
the
planet.
There.
Lost.
in
amazed.
Sexual.
Fantasy.
therefore.
Roar.
Sorry, what was that, Matilda?
Roar.
Oh, therefore.
I
Want.
Two.
Die.
Down.
Good.
Excellent
Good.
answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Summer, have we got another question for them? Summer?
I'm sorry, where is the clitoris located?
Where is the clitoris located? Is that correct?
Yes.
Down.
there.
All right,
right.
well, that was quick. So, how can a massive crisis be created?
By
Exploding
A.
Tin.
Can.
of
tuna.
Fish.
All right.
Maybe
this is
one
the
more question?
controversial question.
All right.
Yeah.
This is the last question, but a controversy is a good one to go out on.
Okay. If women have better penises than penises, why is the patriarchy allowed to exist?
Good question.
Patriarchy.
Is
Not.
Real.
All right, that was
Oh,
a full answer.
It's short and sweet.
Is that it? I think we called it. All right.
is that right? No?
There's a full stop there.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you so much to our performers for getting out here and answering some questions. Intermission is over. Put your butt back in that chair where you've been sitting it all day. It is time for Caroline to present the majestic deck that she's been dealt. Caroline, take it away.
1984. 2 + 2 = 5. Thought crime. Probably feed. Continue. Contents.
What the-
2 + 2 = 5. Motherfuckers. Second section, thought crime. If you're thinking, are they your thoughts? Probably not. Part 3, most importantly, probably feed. We'll get to that. Will be explained when we get to that. Next slide, please. 2 + 2 = 5. False dogma. The party declares is true. Multiple truths are possible, okay? So think about it. Think about everything you've been taught at your school, okay? 2 + 2. Yeah, 2 + 2, okay? What's that on? It's a hand. What's on that hand? 5. Idiot. Ideologically truth, okay? What you wish was true. And then the reality related to the truth, okay? So like, what's real? I don't know. Have you ever done mushrooms? Because I did a lot one time and it was really scary and I'm not sure if I recovered, okay? So next slide, please. Thought crime, okay? Yep. That graphic is what will happen to you if you steal my thoughts, okay? I'll kick you in the head. Criminalization of free will and thoughts, especially against the party, okay? And obviously by the party, I'm talking about the motherfucking prolifeed party, as we know where we are. Detection by observation, okay? Open your eyes. Open your eyes so you can observe things, so you can detect thought crimes, okay? And also use as a pretext to accuse somebody, okay, of a thought crime. And no, don't think it. See it with your eyes and kick them in the face. Next slide, please. Crawler feed, okay? Which is, as we know, there's a sheep. We know that we are sheep. You're a sheep. But who do we follow? A big fucking sheep, right? Rubbish media for pros. Rubbish. Throw it away. Throw away your newspapers, okay? Low level of intelligence needed to throw away your newspapers. It's easy. Find a trash can, throw away the news, okay? And yeah, you should not go to school because they'll teach you that 2 + 2 = 4 and not 5. All right, next slide, please. It's a big share of our modern media pro feed. Let's discuss that. Next slide. There's several sources behind that, okay? I'm not just making stuff up. I'm not just making a thought crime in your head, okay? So, and you can check these out. George Orwell, 1984. It's a classic. You should have it memorized. I do. Okay. Then http:// en.wikipedia.org. It's important you put the en there, or it will not be in English. /wiki/2 space %2 uppercase B space 2 space %3 uppercase D space 5 hashtag uppercase G George space uppercase O Orwell. Rest will be sent to you by email. Okay, next slide. The final slide. Thank you for your attention. This is a great man. You should follow him on social medias. His name is Tobias Vermuth, and he's a great guy. And I'll be personally speaking to him after this. Thank him. And maybe I'll put a boot to his head. Maybe. I don't know. Oh, I see. That timer. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Goodbye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
Oh my God.
Caroline, that was outstanding.
Thank you.
All right. Our last solo presenter of the evening is Matilde. So if you are ready,
Goodbye.
take it away.
Okay, everybody, I'm David A. Strubby. This is the practical calculations of semiconductors and metals. That's hard stuff and semi-hard stuff. Of course, I went to Nurse University, and this is for Berkeley tutorial. Next slide, please. Okay, I'm a little bit of a frazzle head, so I like to make sure we have outlines. So, you know, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I had 7. What doesn't matter. Okay, so we got to screen stuff, construct stuff, and then treat stuff. Make sure it's symmetrical, make a line, and then you got a real and complex version. So the real version is actually always complex. Okay, it's not clear that real can't be complex. You know, don't let anybody tell you if it's real, it ain't complex, because it could be real and complex. Okay, next slide, please. We have to use some screening models so that we can get a real complex thing at the end. I like to start with a mean field because if you start with a nice field, you never get to your absorption. So I go from a mean field to an epsilon sigma down to a kernel and an absorption. When you get stuck in a kernel, you can always go back to epsilon, and that will lead you to absorption, which is an eigeneffectighetsgeven dat absorption a dat. That's how you can store it in your brain. I like to use that, what's it called, an acronym. So my acronym is mean field, epsilon, epsimat, epsmat, e quam signa, e governa absorption on a dat. It's pretty easy to remember. That's how I memorize. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so how do you use? Of course, you can use the acronym that I just told you about, but Sigma does like to integrate with Q. It's, you know, let me explain it to you in a pop cultural kind of way. Sigma is Kourtney Kardashian, and Q is the Kardashians show. Sigma has to integrate with Q to make some money, even though Sigma doesn't really want to integrate with Q, you know, because it's like e to the minus 1Q. Of course, you guys understand the math there, and that's how we get back to absorption. You know, all roads lead to absorption once they pass through Rome. My wife loves that joke. All right, next slide, please. So, of course, when you have behavior that's not smooth, that's a problem. We all know it. We all know the non-smooth behavior problems. Ask my teenage son that. So I like to use carbon nanotube wire truncation. So that's just when you cut a small carbon wire. You just chop it. And that's, you can see my tutorial on that. I put it on my Instagram. Next slide, please. Sure. So, of course, divergent behavior is the second type of problem you can have. So, the bands that are inter and intra, they're just transitions. Don't let them tell you anything else. Transitions. It's like going from the head to the wing to the wing to the body. That's another acronym. It goes from the head to the wing to the wing to the body. And yeah, here we're coming back to our metals. So it's the hard stuff. It goes from the head to the wing, from the wing to the body. And the second wing is like a cool wing. Next, please. Right. So as you see here, you've got the constant head, and then the wing diverges because it flies. And you've got the constant head of the metal there as well. Next, please. Right. So what does this bring us to? We need to have a solution. We have different types of problems. So honestly, all the math I showed you is important, but all you have to do is calculate Q. Note here the anisotropic materials, they need multiple directions. It's like people who can't decide what they want. So you just get Q is actually 0. So it doesn't really matter is what we get to. But just remember your acronyms, head to the wing, to the wing, to the body, and you got it. That's me. I hope you understand. Call me David. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. You made that extremely clear. I know that I have certainly learned head to the wing, to the wing, to the body. All right, everybody on the Twitch channel, you know what time it is. Get out there and get voting. Vote.zbshit.com. You can vote, and you should. It's your duty as someone who lives in hopefully a democratic country, but possibly America. While you're voting, here's a picture of a dog. And we are almost done, so I'm going to make the announcements now so we can roll into the final presentation. Please donate to Comedy Cafe Berlin. They are our favorite venue, and we have a link there in our Twitch chat to donate to them. We'll be doing this maybe live there if they like us, but who even knows? There's a link in the Twitch chat, so check that out. Please give us more slides. This is made possible by generous donations from viewers like you. We have to have them to keep these shows running, even though I own all of Slide Hell. I always need more. So email them to slides@zoombullshit.com, and we will graciously accept your offerings. They could end up like Tobias Wilmuth's wonderful 1984 deck from last week. If you missed part of the show and you want to go back and watch it, you can catch up on our YouTube channel. You can get there by youtube.zoombullshit.com. You should like and subscribe because we're producing these things every week, and then you can watch them even if you can't make it on a Thursday night. So if you just love us, fantastic, as you should. Take a look at our Facebook page @ZoomBullshit. And if you wish to be flirtatious but intellectual, you can email scrabbleerotica@zoombullshit.com. Get a response that looks like that. Hey-ho. All right, so presumably you guys have voted. We all hope that you have. And so without further ado, I have to check and see what the results look like. How's it looking? Actually, Summer, do you have the results up?
I do.
Okie dokie. Who have we got in our final round?
Ooh, well, I'm trying to figure out how to add those votes from the chat. So I believe what we're looking at is runner-up. Well,
so third place.
Not
all right.
confused.
Okay.
Is Andrea presenting Comfortable Sleep.
Excellent.
And then runner-up is Josh presenting Know Thy Clitoris.
Oh, second week in second place. Yeah.
It suits you.
It's like first place of the losers.
That's fine.
And then, round of applause for our winner this week. It's Caroline.
Ah,
Oh, my goodness.
Congratulations.
Yay.
All right, if you guys would come back out on stage, we have our final deck for you this evening. 10 slides, 7 minutes. And then after that, everybody can go home and drink with their cats, or maybe they already are.
so we're
All right,
co-presenting,
guys, co-presenting. Take it away.
All right. We're a lot of people know we're experts on maritime history.
Love him. I love Captain Cook.
So we're here to talk about discoveries, death, and debate. There's only a little bit of debate. We just have to have some alliteration, so that's why that's there.
Yeah, there's no debate with me. Captain Cook's number one. Let's go.
Let's do it.
I love him. He's Captain Cook. Look how handsome he is.
A lot of people think that's George Washington, but they're incorrect. That is Captain Cook.
Look at how his button's undone in the middle there. See? That is, it just shows that he's an everyman.
That's right. And you would think, oh, why isn't Captain Cook at sea? Why is he in a building? Because he's Captain Cook and he can be wherever the fuck he wants to be.
He could be in a building that's at sea. We don't know.
That's true. He was so amazing. He could have built floating buildings.
Probably did.
Next part of this slide.
Yeah. He was a British explorer, a seaman, a cartographer, and a Navy officer. Imagine that. But I also haven't got authority. He was a lover.
That's true. And a lot of people also don't know this. He had a telescope eye. He had an eye that could come out as a telescope. So, next part of this slide. He's born on November 7th, 1728 in Yorkshire. Now, we don't know that for sure. We just guessed, but it sounds perfect to us. So we put it in the slide.
He's a Libra.
That's right. No, he's not. Or
No. He was in those days. The stars have
true.
changed.
That's right. There were only 10 star signs back then. There were only 10 star signs, which is why sailors got lost all the time. He's actually the person who decided, why don't we have 12? It'll help us navigate better. Next.
Next one, please. He joined the Merchant Navy at 17, which in those days was quite old. And the Royal Navy at 27.
That's
so
right.
he was in two navies at once.
Yeah. And he had a parrot. He hired a guy on his boats just to wink.
Yeah.
Known as Winking Pete.
Who also made fish fingers.
It's
right.
true.
Next one, please. He fought in the 7-Year War. Oh, sorry, that was your one. Sorry,
no, that's quite all right. He fought in the 7-Year War,
War.
which was where they developed the atomic bomb.
They did. Imagine that, 7 years of war. You'd be exhausted.
Yeah. Well, that's why he had developed it. He just had to end the war with a nuclear weapon.
Look, there it is in the background. Looks like a broccoli, but it's not. It's deadly.
It's not. It's an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Next.
He was best known for his ocean voyages in the Pacific. Yeah. Lesser known for his ocean voyages in the Pacific, the bathtub. Yeah.
Right.
And the other oceans. Not as well known.
But he did take a lot of voyages in a bathtub.
He did. What a legend. Right. We are at the bottom of this one yet. His first trip
was in 1768, and it lasted for 3 years to 1771. This was his first bathtub trip. And the goal of that trip was to observe Venus from his bathroom.
Which was his name for his penis. Next point. There he is.
Again, just to be clear, Venus was a name for his penis.
For his penis. That is the tip of his penis shown there. swimming around.
Right.
Probably,
It's like an MRI view. It's all the slices.
yeah. All right. Let's. Oh, is there any more to this? I should know.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've watched this.
It has been a long time.
Okay. His second trip was from 1772 to 1775.
That's a long trip. Right.
Yeah.
And he went to the Falkland Islands.
Right, which is a nickname for his anus.
Yeah. He was still doing lots of bathtub discoveries at this point.
It took a lot of his time,
Yeah.
which we're thankful for, quite honestly.
Mm. All right. What's next?
He did not find it. He didn't find it.
He doesn't know where it is. He sees the poos. He don't know where they come from. He's baffled.
Totally confused.
He's totally confused. That's why he's better at discovering countries, he found out, than his own body parts.
That's right. And that leads to his third trip.
What happened next?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't have one.
It
was a
lead to
trick.
his third trip.
We tricked you. Oh,
No,
there
it
is.
does. It does. It does lead to his third trip, 1776 to 1780. He doesn't know this at the time, but he has inadvertently caused the independence of the United States of America.
What's he done? He's crazy. He didn't mean to.
Didn't mean to, but he did it. His initial goals were to take Omai, right, which is was the name of a really pretty flower that he found.
Very nice. That's all he wanted to do, was take a flower home. And now look at America. They're mental.
Crazy.
They couldn't survive by themselves. They got all guns and they're trying to get COVID.
Just not right.
Not right.
His second goal was to dress up in robes. And it took him a while. You see, he had to sail all over North America to be able to do this.
He went in a circle a lot around that bit. Is that Canada?
It's Canada and Alaska. That's right. And what's with Canada and Alaska? Is it warm? No.
Not warm. He's
It's
a hero.
cold.
Yeah.
Cold, and he was still in robes. So
yeah. And Northwest Passage, also a name he called his taint.
this is true. Next slide.
We're going to run a bit over with this. Oh, he's sad, mate.
He was sad.
He wasn't successful.
He couldn't even find his taint.
He couldn't find his taint, and he couldn't find a flower that he liked. Sad. All right.
Very sad.
Even though in those days it was illegal for men to cry.
It's true, but he did it anyway, and now we're allowed to cry. It took a lot of fighting.
Okay.
These are some of Captain Cook's voyages. We're just going to list them off real quick.
List them off real quick.
Here we go.
That's
right.
one he called around.
Yep. Up and around. Yep.
Up and around. That
this
one.
is called, Hey, Where Am I Going?
Yep. Hey, where I'm going. Next one. That he called the water slide.
That's right. Next one. This one is called The Treasure Hunt.
Treasure hunts. And is there another one there? No, he ended with the treasure hunt because he found the treasure and it was inside him all along.
That's exactly right. And by doing that, he expanded European knowledge of geography, science, and culture. A lot of other continents wanted this knowledge, and he said, no, only for us.
He mapped areas of Australia, sailed around New Zealand, laid the foundation for later British colonization.
And
now,
that-
as a Brit,
Yeah, no, go for it.
I was just saying that as a British person, I know you're not supposed to be proud of our colonies, but I am. I think they're great. And, I wasn't there at the time, but I just think that they're all good. We're all friends. And, it's a really, I just consider them to be like neighbors.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, to be clear, when we say laid the foundation for later British colonization, we are talking about when he lost his virginity, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is what that means.
Right.
Not having scurvy. That's what they would say on boats.
He doesn't have scurvy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which
You
means
say,
he's
oh,
just
I've
never
got
been
scurvy.
laid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So.
He brought Shaun the sheep to Australia. I don't know if
Yeah.
you know this, but there were no animated sheep on
Not at all.
Australia until Captain Cook.
He wrote Shaun the Sheep.
That's
Yeah.
right.
He wrote it. Brilliant writer. And what else? He established that there's no Terra Australis. That's right. There's no people that live in Australia.
Right. Or he also doesn't have an asshole. He just physically, he was biologically born without a butt.
That's what he reckons. He says the poos just materialize.
That's it.
Right. Considered the first Europe on Hawaii.
Right.
European on Hawaii. Not in Hawaii, on Hawaii. Very important.
Also, the first person to say, I'm a peeing on Hawaii.
Yeah. Still holds up.
Does.
We should really rattle through these last ones.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know there were more. I forgot we had more slides.
Yeah. So here's the debate, but is it really a debate? Most of the information about his death comes from official and unofficial documents. No debate there. No debate. They're all official documents.
Controversy arises from the interpretation of the details. It doesn't. We just have to put that in.
We just told you what is going on. There's two schools thought. Not true. There's one school. Captain Cook is the best. He's a legend. Doesn't have a butthole.
Right. Debate came to a head in the 90s. That's right.
Yeah, that's when we came on the scene.
Yeah. This is our mentor, Marshall Sahlins.
Big up. Rest in peace.
Right.
Anthropologist from Chicago. You know him. You know him. You know his work. Yeah. Yeah. Published that. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's our man. Yeah, we love him. Great guy.
Right.
Love you. Rest in peace.
There he is wearing his favorite hat. That's Captain Cook's old hat.
Yeah. That was his last words.
That's right. Take my hat.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
I think there's a little bit more here. Oh, all right.
Was that it?
That was it. I'm sorry.
Thank you so
I'm sorry.
much.
I know. It's over too soon.
Oh, yes. It's not. That went on. It took no time at all.
That one was quick. So everybody come back out on stage. We're almost done. I just want to have a quick thank you to all of our wonderful performers. That was outstanding. There is a cat wearing business attire as best I can tell. Mathieu, thank you so much. Andrea, Josh, Caroline, and Matilda, thank you guys so much for being here with me so that I'm just not alone in my apartment. Otherwise, I'd be drinking alone, but I'm not. I'd also like to thank our brilliant tech genius, Summer Banks, who makes all of this possible. She's running all the behind the scenes and doing an awesome job of it, and we love her for it. And thank you, the viewers, for coming here to watch us do our dumb stuff. Please give us more slides. Again, we need them to keep these shows happening, and they're free for you and fun for us. Slides at zoombullshit.com. If you have any questions, why would you think we'd stick around to answer them? It's drinking time. Not a chance. We have scotch. I want to show that.
Put them in a PowerPoint presentation.
There we go. Put your questions in a PowerPoint presentation. We'll have them answered next week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next week here on Zoom Bullshit.
Bye.
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 And we're off stream. Yay.
Okay.
Hey, thanks guys. All right, I can stop screen.